Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Monster Hunter World news update. This time we're going to be talking about Safi'Jiva and all the things we know about the upcoming Safi'Jiva siege quest. Are you guys excited? This is probably going to be the new Kulve Taroth, so there's probably going to be a lot of data to unpack about this fight, and we might as well get started even before the fight is available. Number 1, the siege is coming on December 13th and ending on January 5th of the next year. Number 2, there will be a new upgrade for the Xenojiva weapons. This is going to turn them into Xenojiva Plus weapons, or basically master rank versions of the weapons. These are not Safi'Jiva weapons. This is going to be a completely different weapon tree. Number 3, there's actually been a lot of leaks around the Safi'Jiva armor set. Some people are already using it. It's going to have a new bonus skill called Dragon Vein Awakening, which appears to buff your elemental damage, your ailment status damage, and your affinity at the cost of continuously draining your health. However, if you are attacking a monster constantly, you should be able to actually get that health back, kind of like the way Nergigante Hasten Recovery works. Number 4, the armor set actually changes dramatically when you've drawn your weapon. They mentioned this in the developer diary, but I thought I was looking at like the alpha and the beta version of the armor set. I didn't realize I was looking at the armor set, the difference between the drawn and the sheathed weapon. So it's actually pretty cool. Number 5, this also explains the Palico. So we have 2 different pictures of the Palico, and it appears that in one case his weapon is drawn, and the other case his weapon is not. I think he's doing a pose in the first picture, and his weapon is actually sheathed. And then he has his weapon drawn, and he's got these cute little wings now. So yeah, the armor set is very visually appealing because of how dramatically it changes when you put your weapon away. Number 6, let's talk a little bit about the siege mode itself. So one of the things that they talked about in the developer diary is that you're going to fight Safi'Jiva in one location, and he's going to drain all the energy out of that location and then move on. When we fought him, what he did was he moved down. Okay, so he moved down, and our suspicion now is basically you fight him in multiple stages that move continuously down to the bottom of like a lair or a den or a dungeon. And this is probably the tease that we saw. We probably saw the very bottom of the fight for the tease. So this is what we're expecting with the fight. Number 7, so let's talk about the rewards. You're going to be getting a special relic weapon reward. In the developer diary, we learned that you will definitely get at least one weapon that matches the type of weapon you used in your fight against him. Okay, so if you are wanting to get like a hunting horn in your random rewards, you will definitely get at least one hunting horn, and I think this was a terrific update to the RNG in the game. I think that's a very good idea, because we didn't have that with Kulve Taroth, and you could fight Kulve Taroth over and over and over, and maybe you were going for a charge blade, but you never got that charge blade. You'd have to fight her many times, and this should, I suppose it should speed it up, or at least make it a little bit less frustrating, because you have some more control over it. Number 8, another thing we learned from the developer diary is that all of the weapons are going to have the same baseline stats. Okay, so you can get the same greatsword over and over again. What's going to be changing with these weapons are the element or ailment damage, and this is probably going to be the RNG side of the weapon. So if you're wanting like a greatsword, the greatsword's not a great. How about dual blades? Dual blades, you're going to have to collect a fire dual blades, a poison dual blades, a how about a blast dual blades? You're going to have to, see what I'm saying? You're going to have to collect an ice damage dual blades. So you're going to have to play a lot for a weapon class like that. Probably you won't have to mess so much with the hammers or the great swords, because they're usually strictly raw weapons. But maybe there's exceptions even for that. I'd be curious to find that out, right? Alright, and number 9, now we move on to talking about a new mechanic in the game that you will want to take a moment to try and understand. So you're going to have the weapons going to show up as RNG. It'll have the same base stats, except the element and the ailment will change. We just discussed that. But now there's this new thing where you've got these slots down at the bottom of the weapon, and these are buffs basically to the weapon. And you're allowed to kind of control what the buffs are. You're going to do something called awakening the weapon, and you do this by spending a material called Dracolite. And Dracolite is obtained in the siege as a reward. Okay, so I'm thinking of Dracolite as probably being like armor spheres, is what I'm thinking. And you use these Dracolites to pick a buff for your new Safi'Jiva weapon. There's still some details we don't entirely know about how it will all work. I mean, we can't like 100% confirm how it's going to work essentially, but we know there's going to be some kind of awakening mechanic that may be related to actually using your Safi'Jiva weapon against Safi'Jiva, and then when a weapon's becoming awoken, it's going to offer you a variety of skills for you to choose from and spend your Dracolite on. So you get to pick the skills that you want. There's some rules, we believe, for what kind of skills are allowed to stack together, and this is something that will be of great interest when the actual siege launches and we're allowed to play around with it, because it may be the case that we can put together some really OP weapons. One of the things that was really cool, and let's say this is for topic number 10, one of the things that was really cool is that the developers talked about the ability to constantly change these skills around if you wanted something better or you were offered something better. So they appear to have like a star rating to them. For example, in this picture, you can see that Affinity Increase 1 has 1 star. And we believe as you're offered like a better, let's say, buff, it will be higher stars. So you will be offered better and better buffs with this weapon as you awake it. We believe, and then you would spend Dracolite on it to add that buff onto the weapon, and you can overwrite older buffs that are not as good. See, so it really allows you to upgrade the weapon in a new way that we've never been able to work on weapons in the past before for Monster Hunter World. Now, one of the things we think does not stack is very likely set bonus skills. So if you wanted something like True Crit Element and True Spare Shot for maybe your bowgun using elemental ammo, we don't think at this time that will be possible. We'll have to find out later. There's a lot of other things we're curious about as well, like what is the archetype of the bowguns going to even be? Or how about the hunting horn? Will the hunting horns all have the same, essentially the same buffs? So there's a lot of questions we have still to answer. What about the charge blade? Is it going to be impact charge blade? Will the gun lances have different shelling types like normal, wide, long? So we will figure this all out when the siege actually begins on December 13th, and of course I'll be streaming it. I hope all of you will come and join me. I will be streaming the heck out of this event in order to basically grind and unlock everything, just like we did with Cove Taroth in the past. I hope you guys are excited for that. Speaking of which, if you're looking to join an awesome Monster Hunter World community before the siege is launched so that you can find people who want to play with you rather than just randoms, or maybe you want to keep in touch with me and see when I post my session IDs for when I'm going live, be sure to join my Discord server. There's a link to it in the description of the video. We have like 23,000 people. It might be 24,000 now. I haven't checked. But yeah, it's been awesome. It's been really fun. It's where I go to talk to you guys and where I go to play games with you guys. So consider joining and give it a try. Okay, now that I'm done mentioning the Discord, let's go ahead and continue on with this list. Number 12 is I'm reading that some skills can't be stacked. Now, I can't confirm that. I don't actually know for myself. I don't know where they're getting this information from, but I'm hearing that in order to keep the weapons balanced, you won't be able to just take all of the very best skills and stack them on top of each other. I guess that makes a little bit of sense. Actually, going back to what we said about the set bonus, I wonder if you're able to actually change your set bonus skill or if it's part of the RNG of the weapon. I would hope that you could change it, but actually, if it was an RNG thing, that would make sense too. Number 13 is going to be another way of leveling up your awakened level is that you have to break Safi'Jiva parts using the weapon that you want to level up. And that would make it very similar to Cove Taroth if that was true, because we were all interested in using Part Breaker versus Cove Taroth, and actually that was a lot of fun. So it will be interesting to see what kind of Part Breaker builds come out of this siege. I will probably be working very hard on getting you guys the best Health Boost 3, Part Breaker 3 builds that I can. Number 14, your weapon actually begins to look cooler as it becomes more powerful. Apparently, as you upgrade the weapon, or you awaken the weapon, it begins to have a glow to it. And there's some pictures of it you can see here with the charge blade where there's like it almost looks like Soren's eye, doesn't it? It looks so good. I mean, the armor sets and the weapons here are just done so terrifically well. I'm very excited for this siege. Let's move on to talking about Safi'Jiva himself. So, the following information is not confirmed because he's not actually out yet. Most likely it's been data mined. Take it with a grain of salt, and, I won't comment any further than that. So, number 1, he got terrible hit zones, which is going to mean that you need to soften Safi'Jiva if you want to do decent damage. Number 2, every weapon can soften Safi'Jiva in one hit. Again, I haven't confirmed if that's true. That's just what I'm hearing. Number 3, Safi'Jiva cannot be flint-shotted into a wall. So you don't have to worry about trying to do that. Number 4, we already knew this one. You can actually grab his enmity just like you could with the Behemoth. Praise Jeebus. This is going to make playing a lance and a gun lance and a heavy bow gun against him a lot of fun. And I don't know, there'll probably be like bow builds and stuff like that as well, because that's always fun, trying to grab it with a weapon that doesn't have a shield. Number 5, he also received a very powerful attack similar to the Ecliptic Meteor from the Behemoth, where he shoots fire at the ground, and this is going to be an all-area attack where you need to get behind a rock or get roasted. So I guess the question I have is, will there end up being some sort of emote that allows you to dodge it or something of a similar manner? So that's something we're going to have to find out when it actually launches. I hope it is, because I thought that the Final Fantasy jump was actually a lot of fun with the Behemoth. It was very challenging and it was scary, and it would often lead to exciting moments where you would pull it off correctly and dodge the Ecliptic Meteor. We'll have to find out, right? Number 6, when Safi'Jiva backs off to heal himself, he pulls like energy out of the ground. We're not entirely sure if he's actually healing his health, But one thing we do know is that he's removing all of the softened parts off of his body, so he kind of hardens his hide again, if you want to call it that. And finally, we should mention that he has a one-hit KO grab. Just like the Ancient Lushan had a very dangerous grab, Safi'Jiva appears to have a very dangerous grab, and this is going to be terrific. So it's great. It's kind of like Capcom has been learning all of the things that made each particular fight they launch especially fun, and they're kind of all shoving it into this Siege mode. So I'm very excited. I hope the difficulty of the Siege mode is really high, but we'll have to find out. I'm sure kind of with Kulve Taroth, you could make it artificially more difficult by maybe trying to 2-man it or 1-man it, whatever the case is. I'm very excited. I hope you guys are too. This is everything I had for you in this video. Share in the comment section if you have information that you would like to share as well, or if there's something that perhaps I missed or misexplained. But yeah, be sure to share in the comment section. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.